Hey, welcome back everyone. Today we're just gonna go cruising around. I don't have any plans in mind except for to meet up with my friend Jeremy from the channel Jack Monkey Jeep. And let me tell you something, the weather is beautiful today. I should have taken off the roof and the doors. I've actually never taken them off yet. There's no rain in the forecast and it's like 70 degrees right now with a high close to 80. So it would have been a beautiful day to take those doors off. So we just linked up and we're making our way into one of the Forest Service roads that's local to us. And our plan for today is he wants to go out and set up his trailer and his tent. And he wants to make a comparison of my tent versus his trailer and tent setup. In all honesty, I think that trailer is gonna ultimately be more convenient, but it will also be a little less off-road capable. And I'll talk about some of what I think are the pros and cons of that setup a little later in the video. We just crossed over into the forest property and we're already starting to hit some unmaintained roads. There's nothing too crazy out here yet, but there are quite a few trees and branches in the road. So hopefully we don't have to stop and move anything to get through with his trailer. So what you mostly never see on these videos is us getting out, setting up our cameras, getting the perfect shot, driving by the shot, then picking up the cameras again. Basically every video for every shot you see, you know, there's almost minute or 2 minutes of setup and tear down just to make those shots happen. And it's a lot of fun.
It is, absolutely.
But while we're here, I got a question.
Yeah.
Which GoPro is that?
This is the Hero 4. I purchased it back in 2016 and it does the job. So
I think the only difference is it has less stabilization than the newer ones.
it does, and the highest resolution I can shoot in this is 4K 15 frames per second, which is not really great.
That's a weird.
It is
4K 15?
4K 15.
Huh.
That's as high as it'll go.
Okay.
So I can't even get to 24.
Let's see if there's a place to set up the tent up the road here.
Okay.
And it looks like it might be clearing out, or I might just be wishful thinking.
Maybe.
Wi-Fi connected.
So we saw an offshoot up here to the right. It is a service road and it looks like it might be on a ridge. So if the conditions are good, I'll throw my drone up and see if I can get a good drone shot of the ridgeline. So one thing we have to be careful about going down these one-way trails is if they're too tight, he may not have a spot to turn around with that trailer. And so ideally we can turn around, but worst case, he is prepared to back out the half mile or mile or so based on the length of the trails. Something that always amazes me out here on these forest roads is there's always a little bit of history out here where we've got some graves from, let's see how long ago. So these graves are definitely hard to read, but 1892 over there, 1888. So this thing's more than 130 years old. So pretty crazy. I don't want to dwell here too long because, you know, these are the resting places of some folks. So I'm going to get back on the road and head back up to link up with Jeremy at the top of the hill. It's definitely that time of year where that cemetery was at is close to the water, and there were hundreds of mosquitoes down there. And so I have a few in my vehicle here. Hopefully as I get up higher away from the water, they go away, but it is almost summer, and the closer we get to summer, the more and more we're gonna see mosquitoes out here. Well, guys, this is the spot. This is where we're going to set up camp for now. We don't actually plan to camp out here tonight, but we wanted to set up the 2 tents and just see what some of the differences in the 2 tents are. We've got this beautiful weather, but what we do have that we don't want is a lot of mosquitoes. So I think I found the perfect spot. I'm right here next to this fire pit full of garbage, and I've got the tent right there so I can just swing it out when I'm ready, and it'll sit pretty nice right here. In addition to that, I also don't have a whole lot of grass where I'm at, so that I won't have to walk in and out of the grass as I'm getting set up. Because of course I did wear my Crocs today, and the Crocs are great for the spring and the fall, but in the summer they're not ideal for walking through this kind of terrain. This is a hiker trailer from a website called hikertrailers.com. They do also have a storefront somewhere here in the US, but it's essentially a tow behind trailer that is about a 4x8 foot platform on the inside. And so the way he has this set up is he can either camp inside of the trailer or he can set up his tent on the roof. It's a 230 tent. And if there's a lot of folks in his party, he could set up the tent as well as have people camp inside of the trailer. So we're gonna have to grab something to put under this jack, because with his lift and his higher tires, his 37s, he's got not enough jack to get us off the ground here. So let's look for...
I have a stool. I think this will work.
So it looks like we're gonna go with this stool. I'm not convinced, but Jeremy's convinced that this is not a problem.
I don't think it'll be a problem.
It's about the size of a human foot, but I'm wondering what the tongue weight is on this trailer. It's definitely buckling a little bit. Oh, it is heavy, huh? Perfect. So I did all my lifting essentially with my knees there. Didn't really have to use my back at all, so back is thanking me for that right now. Besides the disadvantage of having something that you have to tow behind, at this point, we could leave his trailer essentially where it is. He could level it, get it all set up. Then we could continue on about our day, essentially reserving the site for ourselves as well, unless some knucklehead wants to come and camp right next to us, which has been known to happen. But on the other hand, my tent is essentially not able to be set up until we are done moving for the day. So if we decide, hey, we want to go into town or we want to go out and explore a few more trails, then I've got to take this rooftop tent, buckle it all up, and then we can move. And then when I get back to camp, I have to turn around and set it all up again if I want to sleep in it. Set up the awning as well?
Yeah. Problem with the older one is it doesn't lock in.
Oh, it doesn't lock in?
Yeah, the newer one locks in.
So is this a 270 awning or is it a
70? Yeah.
270? And it's got quite a bit of real estate underneath it.
230 270 awning.
Well, the good thing is there's plenty of shade here.
Plenty of shade. It's a good spot, minus all the scooters. 230 really does a good job. They send you all the stuff, and this is high quality stuff. Now we can come over here and set this in the right spot. Now for this strap, once I pull the tent over, this will just attach to the tent. But for right now, I'm just gonna attach it down here to get it out. You've got your 3 tents, your 2 poles, your 2 straps. It keeps it extended. What we will want to do is take the poles from here. There's 3 of them, and we'll set them in. That'll create more stability. Then we'll run the guy wires from each of these points down, and that will really stake down your tent if you're in a windy situation. We may not need to do that today because there's literally no wind. A lot of mosquitoes, though. And then once this is done, we'll set up the tent. The newer style awning locks in place where this one does not. So if you don't set this stuff up correctly, it'll collapse on you.
And so now we also have options. Jeremy could stop here. He could camp inside of his trailer, or if he wants to, he could set up his tent on top and camp inside of there. All right, so it is a 4x8. So this gives me ideas for my Harbor Freight trailer, where I feel like it may not be exactly 8 feet on the inside because some of that space is used on the bulkhead here, maybe to store items, but it is big enough for sure for maybe two adults and one child to sleep in here comfortably. And you've also got windows on both sides, so you can always see what's going on outside.
We have 550 cord here, so I can wrap it up here and keep this door open. I have access to the galley. I got a table in there, which I'll set up here. But first, let's do the tent. Now, a disadvantage to having the tent up here is that I have to climb all over the place to get access, to get it open and closed before. Whereas if it's on my bed, it's real easy to get access to it. It sets up a little easier. But it's a minor inconvenience to have it on top of my trailer. Once you do this a few times, you set up the awning, then the tent, the tent, then the awning, kind of learn what's the best and most efficient way. I haven't set it up in a while, so clearly, I think setting the tent up first, then the awning would have been the right way, but we'll work around this and that won't be a problem. So now we can relocate this to the best place, which is over here. On this hook.
All right, guys, you've met Jeremy on this channel before. He's from his channel, Jack Monkey Jeep, and he's got his ultimate off-grid trailer setup so that we can check it out today. And he wants to share a little bit about it with us.
Yeah, I'm running the hiker trailer 5x8 Highway Deluxe as my base camp setup. So you can sleep inside this. It is a 5x8 interior, and it does give you the ability to put a smaller queen size mattress inside there, which is good enough for 2 adults and a small child, or an adult and a couple small children. But I use this for storage. And then as you can see, I have the 23-0 270 degree peregrine awning, which covers from front to rear on my trailer. This is my living space on this trailer. So I have my camping rug, my awning, my camping chair. I use the wheel well as a table for my drink, and we walk around the side here. This is just a base galley on my hiker trailer, but it has plenty of room for all the stuff that we need. So I got my camping stove, my propane, I got coffee, some bacon grease. What do y'all know about that? I got paper plates, cutting boards, pots, pans, whatever, paper towels, water boilers, utensils, towels. I got Tupperware, all the paper towels and plastic bags. We got the camping kitchen sinks. And then down here is where I put my Goal Zero or my WEPS battery and plug in to power everything. Each side has a light. It's an LED light. Plus there's an LED light inside the galley. Okay. I do have an extra power strip right here on the side that allows me to plug in. I do need shore power to run that. But I do have all the electrical wiring there. And then as you can see, this is kind of how I have it set up. So I've got some shade. I've got my table where I would set everything out on the table. And then I'd put my my cooler or my powered refrigerator, because the battery sits in there. And then I would just have everything right here. So this acts as my kitchen. That acts as my living space. And then my storage space is on the inside. And if you come around here, you'll see my laundry cleaning space / sleeping space. So the rooftop tent, this is a 23-0 walk about 72. This is a full king size bed on the inside of this. This creates a good little changing place for some privacy. You can hang some tarps and towels up here to give yourself some privacy. I might even make this a shower spot, but the problem with that is this is where the ladder is to where you go up inside, so that could create a problem. But I do have all these straps running across the bottom, so when you get wet clothes from sweating or you're in the creek or swimming, you can hang up all those wet clothes. And then the inside of the tent, if you want to come on up and show everybody the inside. So I don't have it open, so it might be a little hard to see, but I think you can see how spacious that is up in there. And it does, it opens up so it provides a lot of wind and light, but this darkening cover, when you shut this up, no sunlight's getting through that. So you can sleep in the morning if you're in an area where the sun comes up really early. We have a second door here, window. This is locked, but it just shows the inside, so you have access on both sides. Then you come around here to the tongue. We do have the box up here for storage. This is where I store my feet. This is where I store my I don't know what you even call this thing, a hitch lock here. I got a shovel, got an axe. But yeah, you can get any size of storage box on the front that you want. This is the one that it came with. And you can actually outfit this thing however you want. You can get as cheap as you want. You can get as expensive as you want. You can, this is the Highway Deluxe. So it does have a little bit of off-road capability, but it's light off-roading. They do have a super off-road package. I forget what they call it, but it gets expensive really quick. And then you can outfit that with a full slide-out galley and everything. They come in 3 sizes, 5x8, 5x9, 5x10. And I do have the 5x9, not the 5x8. That's my walk around of my hiker trailer and my base camp setup. If you got any questions, leave those in the comments down below. Or if you got any comments, leave those down below and I'll address each individually.
So what got you into the camping in the trailer?
Yeah, so on my channel, I think I've talked about I had a Toyota Tacoma. Absolutely loved it, especially when I was in Alaska. We did some camping out of the vehicle and everything. Then I sold it and went to Germany, where they don't really do a lot of that. They do camp out of the trailer, but it's more glamping. They don't allow you to go off-road, off the grid. So I did a lot of YouTube research and I started seeing these teardrop trailers. This is technically, I think they call it a square drop trailer, because it's teardrop's supposed to be light, compact. You're kind of off the grid, living out of a camper. That's the same idea behind this. So I was looking at them. I really fell in love with the hiker trailer because their price point was so low. A lot of these overland companies want to get you in at a price point of like 30, 40,000, whereas hiker trailer was less than 10,000 to get their base models of everything. So I didn't need anything crazy. Just wanted something where I could set up a base camp, have some storage, and then have all the accoutrements of sleeping, shade, and then an ability to cook. And then have my Jeep not be attached to the base camp. So if I needed to go anywhere to get something because we forgot it, I can do that while everybody stays here and we don't have to pack it all up and beat feet out of here.
All right, so we talked a little bit about the trailer here. I think it's time for me to set up my tent and we can talk about the tent a little bit.
Absolutely.
So you guys have definitely seen my tent before, and one thing that I don't necessarily like about it, but is also a safety feature, is that I have to use the key to open it and close it. I wish there was a way that I could leave it unlocked, like maybe still have a key so that if I needed the key, I could lock it, but leave it unlocked for my relatively, rural experiences where I don't have to necessarily worry so much about somebody messing with my tent. So now that I have it unlocked, I'm gonna go ahead and put my key away. And it did take probably 20 minutes to set up that trailer for camping, but if I'm really in a pinch for time with the tent here, It's pretty simple. Once I get the 4 tie down points undone, it'll essentially pop up and I'm pretty much good to go. So pop that up. And every time I deploy the tent, I drop these poles. I don't know what it is. Probably by the 10th time I do it, I won't drop them anymore. Well, guys, real quick before we clean up this area, I am going to just do a quick talk about my tent here because we talked about Jeremy's tent over there, and mine is a Naturnest tent. It takes maybe 3 to 5 minutes for me to set it up, but once it is set up, it's set up for the long run. And what I mean by that is I really can't just pick up and go unless I put everything away. And I do like the tent, and I want to mention that in the original video that I made about the tent, I talked about the smell of manufactured plastic, but as Jeremy was putting out his awning, it has almost that same smell. So I think it's the type of material, and this is waterproof. I've camped in this in the rain without any issues. So I wonder if it has something to do with that. But now we're gonna go ahead and clean up a little bit of this garbage. I guess I'll stop talking and help a little. I just did an extended chat with Jeremy about the camping setup. We talked a lot about introducing people to camping that aren't familiar with it. And if you want to hear that conversation, which very good conversation that we had, check out his channel at Jack Monkey Jeep. And we're going to go ahead and get stuff set up. I've got my tent set up, ready to go. But now we're going to see what it takes to put the hiker trailer away so that we can hit the road and get out of this direct sunlight. Although I'm saying this is direct sunlight, keep in mind with this 270 awning, we were very comfortable in the shade, not too hot, perfect conditions. However, we did make a good point, which was now that we've got the trailer set up, we could go troll around, check out some of the trails, leave this set up so that when we come back in the afternoon, it would be ready for us to cook dinner, you know, do the things and then set up our camps. But going back to my tent, as I've said, hopefully not 3 times in this video, for me to drive around, my tent has to be like it is right now, and I can't set up until I'm settled for the night. So just a couple of points about the trailer that we discussed, may not have gotten captured in the video, is this is a hiker 5 foot wide by 9 foot long trailer. It does have this galley area in the back, and then it also has a storage compartment in the front. And I thought there was a little bit more storage, like more of a teardrop shape to this, but that wall in there, that bulkhead, is the front wall of the trailer. And because of the way this is set up and the way it's shaped, it is still a pretty aerodynamic design because the curve on the front of the trailer does essentially line up with the front of the Jeep there. The hardest part about the setup today was getting that jack out and that jack set up. We did have to lift the trailer up to clear the ball. Some of that is a factor of Jeremy's 2-inch Mopar lift and his 37-inch tires, bringing him approximately 4 more inches plus or minus off of the ground. And I feel like that jack would have definitely worked fine with the stock ride height Gladiator. However, it's much more fun going off-road with that lift and those bigger tires. So I wonder if it's possible to get a bigger jack stand for this trailer to make it a little bit easier to manage out at these, dispersed campsites. It only took me maybe 3 minutes max to put my tent away, but this setup does require a little bit more time and a little bit more patience to set up. There are things that, you do have the awning that has the poles, that has the straps. All of that stuff kind of has to be done in sequence or it's just not going to flow efficiently. So he's going through, he's putting the awning up first. That'll give him the room he needs to put his tent away. And then most likely the last thing he's going to put up today is going to be this really nice camp carpet that he has here. This is essentially like a nylon material. I like it because you can hose this off. So say it gets dirty, maybe you put it somewhere, it gets muddy while you're traveling. You bring it home, you lay it out on your driveway, you hose it off. Once it dries, you put it away for the next use. And because it is nylon, it's going to be a lot more resilient to direct sunlight. so you can leave this out. The black will generally turn gray over time, but it still looks like a nice checkered flag print pattern. One observation I make every time I get near this blue Jeep is I can definitely tell the difference in the ride height. My Jeep is a stock Gladiator Rubicon. I feel like it's a decent ride height, and then I get next to this blue Gladiator Rubicon with that lift kit and those big tires, and you can definitely tell the difference. And so a couple things that I have in mind over the next year or so is lifting and bigger tires, and then possibly getting a tent like this so that I can have something for my family to enjoy while we're out camping and exploring. I think the last thing I want to talk about today is we did set off on this journey this morning with no true objective, no agenda. However, we did decide to compare the rooftop tent versus the trailer with the rooftop tent on it, and I enjoyed that quite a bit. If you like this video or enjoy this style of content, please consider subscribing. And if you want to see Jeremy and I going off-road for the first time with my Gladiator Rubicon, watch this video right here, and I'll see you guys in that video.